All right, whenever you're ready.
Hello, my name is Mrs. Melanin.
Oh, do that again. You peaked like crazy just now. You got louder than you're usually going to get.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello. No, let's start over. Ready?
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Mrs. Melanin.
And I'm Beleaf Mel.
And we're here with episode 28 of
How Married Are You? All right. We're back.
All right, it's time for Chocolate Baby Story Time.
Chocolate Baby Story Time, babe. That's you.
All right.
What's your Chocolate Baby Story Time?
So it's been rainy around here in Southern California. I don't know what's going on. I kind of like it. I kind of don't. You know, it's a love-hate relationship. But the other day, I was trying to come up with different things for the kids and I to do without watching TV. And so I decided I was going to teach the kids how to play the staring game. And usually when I play games with the kids, I don't mind winning. Like, they don't necessarily like me winning all the time, but I don't usually mind winning because I feel like it teaches them how to lose gracefully.
Yeah.
Well, I was playing with Uriah Bo and Theo P, and Uriah Bo was scarily good at this game.
What do you mean? He didn't blink?
Babe, he did not blink. It was like...
That's weird.
My eyes were starting to burn. It hurt so bad. I was trying so hard. I even almost cheated and held my eyes open so I could beat him. He beat us both. Time after time after time. He was the champion of the game. Me and Theo didn't last 2 seconds. I think Theo deals with allergies.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what was going on with me. I just really couldn't last. But Uriah Bo, even after the game was over, I was watching him and he did not blink. I was like, Ryan.
That's creepy.
I was like, Ryan, please just blink for me. I literally had to ask him to blink so I could know that he blinked.
I'm going to have to play him next.
You should.
He's definitely going to have to lose.
He's so good, babe.
Really?
Babe, he beat me every time.
That's crazy.
He beat Theo every time. Theo didn't last very long, though.
Was Theo getting upset because he lost?
Theo kept being like, I want to play again. I want to play again. But then the thing about Theo, too, he wouldn't even realize he was blinking.
Oh, okay.
He'd start with the blink. I'd be like, Theo, you just blinked. He's like, awesome. No, I didn't.
That's hilarious, man. Chocolate Baby Story Time. Yeah, I had a really cool time, putting the kids to bed lately. We do this song, prayers.
I didn't get to know the song.
Yeah, it's a song we sing, and so it's we sing a song, and then I ask them if they're ready to say their prayers, and whoever says no, they get tickled. And so it's really fun. I like doing it. It's a cool thing that we have together, and they actually want to say their prayers more. They're like, okay, let's read the book so we can, say the prayers.
Thank you guys so much for your words of affirmation. We've been receiving them via our DMs on Instagram, as well as through the Anchor app voicemails. And so we just want to say thank you and keep those coming. However, I do know there are some of you guys who I know I'm recording a podcast, but I still don't like my voice. Mm-hmm. Whenever I hear it, it's very rare that I listen back to these podcast episodes because hearing my voice is weird. And so if you're like me and you don't like to hear your voice, you can also leave us words of affirmation on whatever app you're using to listen to the podcast. So if it's the Apple app, Stitcher, Google, Spotify, whatever.
Via reviews, via
whatever app you're using, go ahead and leave us a review right there. Let us know why you're listening and why other people should be listening as well. And don't forget to give us a 5-star rating. Remember, I said 5-star. If you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. Just keep it to yourself. But we do appreciate you guys for listening, and we hope that you are getting something out of the podcast, and we hope that you're sharing it with everyone that you think should be listening to it, which is pretty much everyone. Literally everyone. We have people who are 60 and older listening to the podcast, as well as people who are in their teens listening to the podcast. So all different seasons of life, all different walks of life, all different ethnicities too.
Yeah.
And so we appreciate you guys.
And big shout out to everyone who's watching on YouTube. We thank you so much for subscribing. We are getting great engagement there. So if you really rock with us there, just keep watching. We appreciate it so much. And speaking of people who are in all different walks of life, one of our favorite Patreon supporters is actually sending us a word of affirmation this time. Her name is Priscilla. And so Priscilla's been a Patreon supporter for a while. And she's always giving us words of affirmation, and always dropping gems. So we thank you so much for everything you do, Priscilla. And everyone, this is Priscilla.
Hey Yvette and Glen, it's Priscilla, God's daughter. I honestly feel like I probably should have done one of these a long time ago because you guys have been such a blessing. But anyways, I just wanted to point out to everyone that this podcast is not just for the married or for the people in a relationship, because it's even for the single. Because I'm single, but I have a desire for
don't stop to the beat, y'all. And you don't stop. A freak, y'all. And you don't stop to the beat, y'all. And you don't stop. A freak.
Because I'm single, but I have a desire for marriage and for having children. The reason why this podcast has blessed me so much is because it keeps me grounded. I mean, as you get older, sometimes your desire for family gets stronger, and lots of people rush into it just for the sake of satisfying something temporary. But as I watch you remind me that marriage is serious and parenting is serious. And it can be enjoyable, but you have to be with someone who's willing to nurture it with you. So as for me, I'm going to take my time, and I just want to say thanks for sharing your strengths and your weaknesses. Peace. Peace. Peace.
Yo, that was Priscilla with the words of affirmation. Thank you guys so much. She is a Patreon supporter. Patreon is another way for you guys to support the podcast, the YouTube channel, and all our endeavors here at Beleaf in Fatherhood. And we're even talking about expanding into different ways. So we'll kind of, talk about that later on. But if you want to support us on Patreon, it's just patreon.com/BIF. And you can get these podcasts early. You can get actual episodes of Beleaf in Fatherhood early, and you get all types of merch options as well at different tiers. So if you haven't thought about checking us out on Patreon, make sure you just at least look at the link and just see if it's for you.
Yeah. So I recently did one of those things on Instagram where I asked for questions so that we could do a question and answer type podcast episode. And that is exactly what this podcast episode is going to be, Q&A type feel. But before we jump into the questions that you guys asked us, I wanted to just throw some questions out there for Glen and I to answer that are kind of fun and funny. And yeah. So let's just do this really quick for a few of them.
Okay.
Would you rather I be completely hairless or as hairy as a gorilla?
Hairless.
Completely hairless?
Bald.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wigs, you could wear wigs at that point if that's an issue.
Oh, so you don't mind wigs?
No, I do mind wigs, but if it's an option between like you being completely bald and you want to throw in a wig, that's on you.
Okay. Would you rather our children grow up to be 8 feet tall or 3 feet tall?
Our children? I don't care. 3 feet tall, I guess.
Why?
I think 8 feet tall is going to have a lot of heart issues.
Heart issues?
Yeah, like people that tall, like they just, like it's a lot. 8 feet tall, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
What size bed you wear? What size bed you get? What size shoe you get? What size clothes? Like big and tall is not an option. 8 feet tall.
That's true. Okay, I can go with you on that one.
Yeah, the kids section is popping forever. 3 feet tall.
And kids' clothes is actually really cheap.
Yeah,
and inexpensive. They'll be saving lots of money. Yoga pants or skirts?
Yoga pants.
Why?
Because it's easier for you to walk around. Skirts are kind of limiting, and you gotta like cross your legs. Seems very uncomfortable.
Is that because you want to see my butt?
I'm just trying to think about your convenience.
Just Do you think you're a good kisser?
I don't know. That is awkward. Do you think you're a good kisser?
Do you think it's not for me? It's for you. Do you think you're a good kisser?
I think I might. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
You're a good kisser. I really like your lips.
Okay.
Okay, last question. Is there a memory you have of me that always makes you laugh?
Yeah, that time you hid under the bed when I came home.
At Hillside Court?
You know,
Why did I do that?
I don't know. It's so weird. I was looking for you and you were like hiding and you grabbed my ankles from under the bed. It was so stupid. It's like, what the hell is wrong with
I'm
you?
weird.
So weird, man.
Okay, let's jump into these questions from everybody else.
All right.
You pick one first since I was asking so many questions.
Okay. Yvette, have you encountered anger issues in Glen and how did you deal with them?
I don't think so. I saw that question and I was like, what does that mean, anger issues? Glen is probably the most patient person that ever has dealt with me. But the thing is, he doesn't have that patience for everybody. So I don't know. I would say no. I have not seen.
Have you seen me have anger issues toward other people?
Not in a violent way. I've seen you become angry. I won't name any names, but I've seen you be angry.
Yeah. And I haven't encountered anger issues with you except for that one time.
What one time?
The gift card situation?
You were tripping. We were both tripping.
No.
Can we just say we were both tripping?
No.
Okay, let's not go there, y'all. Cause then
She gonna get angry on camera.
no. Okay, whatever. Can you share your thoughts regarding age gaps in relationships?
I don't really have any thoughts. I'm not really like a age gaps, like someone's 10 years older or 20 years older or something like that.
Okay.
You have issues with this.
So
right?
listen.
Okay.
I have had issues in the past with it, especially when it comes to like my brothers. Both of them have been in relationships where there has been a woman that's like a decade older than them or whatever. And I loved the women, but I just felt like the age gap was too much of a thing. I don't know if how much I'm allowed to say, but for example, for my one of my brothers, the woman was older and she had children who were older, and so she was kind of like at that point where she's like, okay, I'm done with raising children. And I knew that my brother wanted children, and so that was kind of one of those situations where I'm like, well, I don't know if this is a wise decision. I'm saying too much still? I don't know if this is a great idea for you to be in this relationship with this person because you want children. They're practically done raising their children. And yeah, it just doesn't seem like a good idea. I don't know that I ever actually vocalized that to my brother in that way, but I did. Why you whip your head like that?
I'm just listening to you. The Holy Spirit is talking to you.
But I feel like it just depends on the seasons of life. Like in that situation, I feel like they probably should have looked elsewhere because the woman was not interested in having any children of her again. And then I think it got to the point where it was like, if you want children, you're going to have to adopt and you are going to be responsible for that child, which is no way to enter into a relationship. So,
yeah. And I think most people who like enter into that relationship and they really want kids, they're like, I could change their mind.
Yeah. No. And that's the thing. Like, be careful thinking that you have any control over somebody's mind, because you just don't. So anyways, I do think that age gaps matter. However, I also think it can be situational because we also have friends who have significant age gaps but are doing really well and they fit really well together.
Yeah.
and they're very like-minded and have the same goals and whatnot. So it just depends. Now, if you're an 18-year-old trying to date a 14-year-old, I don't think that's appropriate.
That's against the law.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, but however, if you're a 24-year-old dating a 20-year-old, it's not that big a deal. And there's still a 4-year gap.
I mean, well, because like a child, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a level of manipulation that can be taking place. You don't really know if this person is really doing this against their will, or, you know what I'm saying, something they really want to do or something they're being persuaded to do. And you just don't know. You never know. So it's underage. That's underage. You know what I'm saying? So no, we don't rock with that. Over here. You know what I'm saying? We don't rock with that. But there are situations where someone can be with older, you know, I've seen like someone with like like a senior citizen, like not talking about 60, I'm talking about like 80.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I met a man who was like in his 40s and he was dating like an 80-year-old woman. It was wild. It was wild. And I don't want to pass judgment, but I was like, this is wild. And I said, that is interesting. He said, I think it's neat. I said, all right.
Yeah.
And that's my judgment. I shouldn't have said that. That's none of my business.
Yeah.
Real talk.
Yeah, I just feel like it's situational. I think now, like back in the day, which was not that long ago, maybe last year, I would have been like, yeah, age is very important, yada, yada, yada. But I have come to a place where I'm like, it's very situational. You just have to know each other's maturity and be like-minded and all of that stuff.
Yeah. Next question. How do you cope with the annoying personality traits of your spouse? Like always talking politics. What annoys you about me?
The way you chew gum.
Yeah. The way you clear your throat on the microphone during the podcast. So annoying. That means I have to go back and I'm like, oh, I wish I knew where that spot was.
You should be marking it down. You can look at the time.
What else?
How do we deal? What else annoys you?
How do we deal with it?
I'm trying to think of what else annoys me. His snoring. I mean, it's something that I don't know if he can control it, but it does feel kind of, I do feel
on purpose.
Well, like sometimes I feel disrespected when you go to sleep and your head is turned toward my side of the bed. I'm like, well, we all know where this is going. Why don't you just go ahead and turn your head the other direction? Or like, you know, if you sleep on your stomach, it's better for you.
I mean, but how do you plan to fall asleep? I don't know when I'm going to fall asleep.
Babe.
I know when I'm laying down, I'm most comfortable not on my stomach. So when I turn around, I'm like, okay, it's over. But I don't know.
What was the question? Where is that one at?
It's okay.
How do you cope with it? How do you cope with the annoying personality traits of your spouse? I don't even know if that's a personality trait as much as it's a disease. It's a condition.
Yeah, it's a condition. It's not going anywhere. But there are certain things that bug me that I feel like you have control over. That
I know some personality. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
No,
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
I'm still trying to think.
No, I want you to go ahead.
I'm still trying to think of stuff. So go ahead.
I don't think I'm allowed to say.
Go ahead.
I really don't think I'm allowed to say.
Say it.
I don't think I'm allowed to say. I really don't on air.
Oh my gosh. Personality traits. I mean, there's certain things, yeah. I'm not allowed to say mine either. How do I cope with it? I believe that she'll change. How do I cope with it?
You believe that I'll change?
I believe that you'll get better over time. Do you believe I'll get better over time? Wow. No, she's shaking her head, ladies and gentlemen, on the podcast.
Not with the one I'm thinking about.
Oh gosh. Is it familial? Mm-hmm. Oh gosh.
Right? Am I right? Is it gonna get better? It hasn't gotten better. Not even an inch better.
What are you talking about? Here, let's just put. Okay, mute. No, it will get better. You know, there's a season of life that you can deal with certain things and a season of life that you can't. I think that for me right now, I know what I can take and I know what will break me. And I'm just very protective. And I think the hard part is that I think you know me better than I know me sometimes. Like you think you know the best, but I have more history and understanding dealing with, you know, some of the things I'm dealing with. So I know, just like, you know, what happened just recently, you know what I'm saying? And like, you had to actually go through that and be like, oh, I get it. But before, like I was telling you, you just didn't get it. You know what I'm saying? And so I definitely think it's going to get better for sure. And I know it has to get better, you know? But
sorry for the code talking, y'all.
Yeah. But yeah. So I honestly believe that you will get better in certain areas. And if you don't, then you don't, you know? But it's not like, it doesn't make or break our relationship. And I think that's the question. How do you cope? And I feel like cope is like deal with even though you can't stand. That's what I feel like coping means. And so it's like, I have to deal with this. And so like, I don't think talking about politics is like, that is just, I don't like, that's something I think you should address. Like, yo, I'm not really interested in having this conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think it depends because honestly, when I hear Glen, because Glen's he's more into music and like current happenings with things involving musicians and whatnot.
Or anything pop, really.
Yeah, like
basketball, anything.
And so when I hear him talk about that stuff, I'm not necessarily interested in it, but there's a level of interest because he's wanting to talk about it. Does that make sense?
I think this person is saying they don't want to talk about politics. They're not interested in talking about it. And they may be making political issues, you know what I'm saying? Like the main thing. And they're like, yo, I don't really want to talk about this. I'm not interested in that. Or like, I don't believe that is a problem, you know? So, but we're talking about, when I'm talking about, when I say annoying personality traits, because like talking about politics is not a personality trait, right? Like that is just something you do. Like I feel like a personality trait is like
selfishness.
Like they steal.
Yeah.
How do you cope with that? They go to other people's house and take things.
Yeah.
But talking about, I don't know. I think for me, like if Yvette was always discussing something I had no interest in, I would just be like, yo, I don't want to talk about this.
He totally would.
I just say I do not have any interest in some stuff, even stuff she does. I'm like, yo, I have no desire to sit here and cut out these little freaking pieces of paper for a party that 3 people are going to be at. I do not want to do this. And I don't think you should do it. As a matter of fact, because I need your help. And yeah, that's a personality trait because it's like sometimes you can't say no. That is annoying.
Oh gosh. Okay. We weren't talking about.
No, but that's, how do I deal with that? That's hard.
How do you deal with that?
Eventually, I believe you'll get better. Like,
do you think I am getting, do you see me getting better?
I see you getting better, but like, I don't see it. Like, I know you're getting better on your side, but I don't actually hear you being like, no, you know what I'm saying? But because because you don't bring it to me. Yeah. The reason you brought it to me before is because you were doing it. Yeah. And now you don't bring it to me because you're not doing it.
Yeah.
You know? So
true. Okay. All right. Is it my turn to pick a question? Yeah. What is one piece of advice you would give to your pre-married selves? Pre-married. I think mine, and I feel like we've already talked about this enough on the podcast, but I think mine would be prepare better for sex in marriage. Like just being more knowledgeable of it and understanding it better and seeking, some type of mentorship in that area. That might sound a little weird, but yeah.
Yeah, I would say that I would want to like just talk about manhood to myself. I won't want to explain to myself that like you are enough. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't need anybody else's approval to make moves that you want to make and do things that you want to do. I think I wasted a lot of time like hoping for approval from somebody. And now that I've been making the moves, like, I don't know, I mean, I could have been doing this a long time ago, you know, and that would have made me a better husband for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah. How did you handle conflict in the beginning of your relationship? What?
How?
We talked to someone. We sat down with our mentor couple, our friends, Pat and Shan, and and Mike and Jolie at one point, and just said, hey, we don't speak the same language in this way. And we had a referee come in and help us figure out what we were really saying to each other. That was very, very helpful.
Yeah. Has there been a toll on your marriage as a result of your public life?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
A toll. Like a cost and a tax on our marriage. No. Do you think us being publicly doing things publicly has made us better or worse?
Better. And the reason I say that is because I said better. I don't know if you can hear that. Better because I feel like for me, I've always been someone who, and this, I don't know if this is going to make me sound bad or whatever, but if I know that there are other people looking to me for any kind of mentorship or whatever, it helps hold me more accountable to who I say I am. One of the biggest things about when Glen started Beleaf in Fatherhood, I was like, I just don't want us to be portrayed as anything other than who we are.
Yeah.
And I've held true to that conviction. Like what you see is what you get. I mean, of course, there's only so much that you can really understand and know about me as far as what we put out there. But I feel like we try to be as transparent as possible with whatever we're struggling with, whatever we're going through, however we're growing. And so I feel like it's helped make us better.
Yeah, I think it has given intentionality to our relationship. It has, made you like kind of like, I want you to grow. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be a hindrance to you. I want you to grow. It has allowed you to step up. And it's been really good I think for both of our parenting, because we're sitting here like, yo, like they're going to look at this one day and we can't fall off, you know? So yeah, I think it has actually been one of the better things about, what we decided to do. That was a really good question. Shout out to Stephanie. She's a patron supporter. Thanks for asking that, Stephanie. I'm thinking of starting a podcast. I have only a cell phone. What should I do?
Use the Anchor app.
Boom. Anchor makes it super easy for you to start a podcast. It's really simple and you just grow, And
you can get one of those lapel mics that attaches to your cell phone.
That's not funny.
I'm laughing because we just had a little argument about this.
It was a big argument. Okay. And it was actually, I think we talked about it a couple episodes ago. Yes.
When is the right time to start dating?
I believe you date for the intention of marriage.
Yeah.
I think you date.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
That's what I believe. But some people don't think like that.
Yeah.
No,
it's very true. When you think you're ready to start moving towards marriage, then start dating. I do see a lot of people dating in middle school. Like, I was a middle school teacher, and so I got to witness some of those middle school relationships.
My boyfriend.
And the truth is, some of those middle school relationships, like I know people who dated in middle school who are married now. I don't know how their marriages are, but I always think it's kind of cute and sweet when someone's like, oh, we were high school sweethearts. Like, they knew each other when they were teenagers.
They definitely celebrate Valentine's Day.
They do.
100%.
But I don't know. I definitely think I agree with Glenn. I think when you have dating is, well, it depends. I actually no, even if you're not a believer, I think you date with the intention of marriage. And so if you think you're ready for marriage, then
yeah, what's the point of wasting time? What's the point of, I mean, I understand like, oh, I want to have fun and I don't want to do this alone.
Yeah.
Like I get that. But at the same time, it's like, I would love to pursue something forever, you know?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Um,
Now, I want to follow up because there was this same person asked another question. Will guys find it weird that I'm going into my 20s and I haven't dated? Who cares?
yeah.
Like, who cares if you've been in a relationship or not? Just do you, boo. Don't date for the sake of saying I've dated. Does that make sense? Like, be intentional about those relationships.
Do you have any tips for parenting a strong-willed child? I feel like all our kids are kind of strong-willed.
For parenting? Is the word parenting or disciplining?
Parenting a strong-willed child.
I don't know. I don't know that we have that strong of a willed child.
I feel like all our children are very strong-willed.
But in what way are they possibly thinking?
Like a kid who's like, yo, it's my way or the highway. Like, you know what I mean? That type of situation.
I don't think we have those kids. Uriah Bo is closest to that kid.
I think Theo's P was way closer.
What?
Yeah, because he'll do it. He just won't. He'll find another way to do it. He's sneaky.
But he'll do it.
Yeah. He's going to do what he wants.
So how strong-willed is he?
I don't know. Maybe I'm off.
I think you are a little off.
Anaya's strong-willed.
Anaya is Anaya.
She's
I
a whole
don't know what we're
complete
doing
mess.
with her.
I don't think we should be allowed to have kids after. After dealing with her.
I'm a little, I don't know. I hope she turns out to be all right. Whoever asked this question, where did that question come from? I'm so sorry.
All right. Here's another question from one of our Patreon supporters. I was wondering how you and your wife taught Anaya, the boys, when they were about 1, what no meant. I'm struggling on how to convey this. For Theo, I was very intentional about teaching him what no meant.
You were very intentional.
Yeah, I would sit him in a circle.
No, you would have the stuff in a circle.
I would have the stuff in a circle, and he'd be allowed. He'd touch something, and I'd say no, and then he'd touch it again, and I'd have like a chopstick.
Yeah.
And I'd like kind of tap him with the chopstick and say no, and then when he picked up something else, I'd say yes, and then I gave it to him. And so like I was teaching him like what, because I heard about this training, and it was very cool but very time consuming. It was like 10 minutes a day or like 5 minutes a day or something like that.
And the type of stuff would be
and they were at 6 months. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was younger than 1, but the type of stuff it would be is like a remote control with toys.
Yeah, or like a picture frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we were a lot more intentional with Theo when he was younger than we have been with our other kids.
It's get worse every kid. It get worse every kid, because remember Theo wasn't allowed in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Ryan wasn't allowed in the kitchen, and Anaya she'd just be in there grabbing knives out of the dishwasher.
Yeah.
What?
You just put us on blast. We could go to jail.
It's on video. It's literally on an episode. She goes into the. See, you don't even watching the show.
I do watch
you crusty. Listen, I would say do be very intentional.
Yeah.
Before 1 if possible, but I guess if you're asking, this kid is after 1 for sure. But helping them understand like what's hot. Like it's like no, because that's hot. And then you let them touch a hot French fry or something like that. No, it's hot. You don't want to touch that, baby. And now we have to tell Naya no all the time because she can't eat a lot of stuff. So we're always having to teach her what no means. And so it's just something like it's just communication. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I just shake my head or I look at him. Anaya, she knows when she's not supposed to be doing something.
They all do.
Yeah.
Anaya, it's kind of like you look at Anaya, it's easy to look at Anaya and be like, she knows, because she's a little bit more obvious about it, because she does this thing where she'll be trying to do something, but she'll be looking at the side of her eye to see if you're looking, to see if she's doing it. And it's just like, oh no.
Yeah, it's
like
cute. It's so
how
cute though. It's so cute.
And that's
it's
the
like,
problem,
Naya,
ladies and gentlemen.
Anaya,
that's the problem.
Anaya, stop it. Okay.
She does. She does. And she already has an attitude about it.
Papa.
Okay. I wasn't going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, girl. Yeah, I don't know. Definitely be intentional.
Yeah.
And like give them opportunities in a safe place to explain what no means. That's good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm good.
Is it your turn?
No, I'm done with questions. You ask the rest.
What are some talents you've developed while married?
Learning how to say no.
That's a talent?
It's the superpower.
What?
Yeah. No, I can't go. I can't do that. What are some talents you discovered? Head wraps. Wait a minute, talents. I've discovered a lot of talents since being married.
I was gonna say that's not a talent.
I started doing video.
Yeah, you became this whole person.
Yeah. I became
welcome.
A philosopher of sorts.
A storyteller. I mean, you've always been a storyteller, but that blossomed into something awesome.
Yeah. I built things.
Huh? Where are we going here?
I built stuff.
What did you build?
Babe, what did I build?
Look at that wall behind
you. Look at that wall behind you.
Yes, you did do that. But you also built me a podium.
I built your podium. I built that H that's downstairs. That H on the wall.
Oh, on the wall. I was about to say, I built that H.
Yeah, not that little 4-piece H. I'm talking about the big old thing downstairs.
I know. That was actually really cool.
Whatever.
Actually, then, yeah. I feel like you had those talents, but they just kind of came alive.
I didn't know how to do none of that.
Yeah.
What else?
I don't have any talents.
What you do have talents?
None that developed during marriage.
Really?
Mm-mm.
I don't know, babe.
You can't even think of one.
I just remember you working. That's all I remember.
That's all I do. So sad.
That was a really good question. I think marriage has made me a better person.
I think marriage has made me a worse person.
Dang.
I'm just kidding. I just had to say something contradictory. No,
okay.
It made me a better person. But I don't think I developed any talents being married.
Talking financial.
With your spouse.
With your spouse.
What about it? What does it say? Where is it at?
It just says talking financial with your spouse.
How do you do it? We are not necessarily the professionals at that, but we do talk finances. Like, I don't think finances can be a subject in some marriages where it causes tension and conflict or whatever. And I don't think that's necessarily true for us. Mm-hmm. I do think we've had moments where it's been like
awkward.
Like, yeah, it's been awkward, but it's never anything unhealthy or bad.
Yeah.
We're usually on the same page.
Like, we had the money, now we don't. It is what it is. It's gone. We need more.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we'll do one more question. The last question will be, I don't know. Is this a good question to end on? What is the hardest thing about being a parent?
Yeah, I was looking at that one too.
Okay. What is the hardest thing about being a parent?
Everything. It's hard. I don't like people who just decide that they want to be parents by themselves. Like, yeah, I'm just going to be a single mom. I'm just going to like, you know what I'm saying?
Babe, what? Be careful. What are you saying? Can you please elaborate?
Okay. I'm saying that I'm sorry, I did not mean to say that.
Please.
Right. I'm saying some people think having a kid is cute. And so they want a child or they'll adopt a child, but not really understanding that the child is not it's not a accessory. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to like raise a human. Like, it's hard. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I meant to say. Okay. Is that not right?
I mean, so here's the thing. I'm just putting myself in a situation where, let's say I'm like 45 years old, still haven't found someone to marry, or whatever. I've always desired to be a mom. That's something you know about me from the get-go. And so I could totally see myself being one of those women who goes and adopts a child, not because they're an accessory, but because I've always wanted to be able to care for and love on a child. And so, and because I probably at 45 would still be teaching, and I know the homes that these kids are coming from, or I don't want them to grow up in a system or whatever.
So you as a 45-year-old teacher who works 12 hours a day would bring home a child.
Yes.
And care for that child, but you would be depending on the rest of your community to help you raise the child.
I definitely would need to have a village around me. Yes.
Right. And so,
but that would be better than the child growing up in the system.
100%.
So then what's your problem?
My problem is that it's hard. Like it's not easy. The question is, what is the hardest thing about being a parent? And you just can't describe one piece because it just keeps getting more complex.
Yeah. I would say the hardest thing about being a parent is the guilt that comes with it. I think there's an inescapable guilt that comes with being a parent where, like, there's always this hashtag mom guilt. I don't know if there's a hashtag dad guilt. I'd be interested to look that up. But I'm sure if you compare the dad guilt hashtag to the mom guilt hashtag, the mom guilt hashtag is probably blowing it out of the water. But there's always this concern that, am I doing the right thing? Have I chosen to handle this situation right? Are they living in the right environment? Like, there's
I always think like that.
Yeah.
I don't hashtag it.
But I'm just saying, like, yeah, I'm just saying the hardest part is getting past that guilt, because no matter what, I feel like, I mean, and this is not necessarily the case for all parents, but for most parents, we are trying our hardest to do what we think is best for our kids. And so, I mean, at some point we just have to go with that.
Yeah, but it's just like, it's like you're trying to raise someone and like give them the best that you can. And sometimes your best is trash because all you have is like, you don't have much to give. And so I'm like, it's hard for me to just be like, yo, like parenting, like, now there's a whole nother side to it where the kids are freaking adorable and it's, they light up your world and they're so beautiful and wonderful and just like, they just are a lot of joy. But the fact that you can make one wrong decision or leave them at someone's house too long and everything goes wrong. And you're just like, that is a lot of weight. And so you just, the uncontrollable, you know what I'm saying? Like the things you can't, you know, I don't know.
But then you just can't live in that fear.
Sure, I know that. I'm not saying you should, but like the hardest part is the unknown. Like you just don't know.
Yeah. You
don't know what other people's intentions are. You don't know who to trust. You know what I'm saying? Like you live with this like God, like what happens? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. that kind of another person said the foundation of one's relationship, be it with friends or a loved one, is built on the relationship that person had with their parents and the household in which they grew up in, I believe. So with that said, are there any actions that you both display that are as a result of the foundation you had, negative or positive? And I don't know if this is necessarily, I don't know if we want to answer this question in its completion, but when you said what you said about we do the best that we can and sometimes your best is trash, it reminds me of something. I don't know if it was something I was watching or something I was listening to or what, but or a conversation I was having with someone, but they were talking about like the way that they were raised, and then how, I think it was in a book that I read, and how they like, okay, so they were reflecting on the way that they were raised, but then, and how bad it was. And then they were thinking about the way that their mom was raised and how much worse it was.
It was at the marriage conference we went to.
Was it at a marriage conference?
Yeah. And
how like they were doing their best.
Yeah.
And their best was better than the worst. And so when I think about it in that sense, I'm like, man, oh man.
Yeah, that like generational curses.
Yeah.
And so like for me, like when you asked, is it ever going to get better with this situation? It's like, it has to. Like I can't allow it to go. And that's the only reason why I'm like, dang, man, like I can't deal with this right now. You know what I'm saying? Because I know when I have to deal with it, it has to be all in. And so yeah, it's heavy. Like it, and so as much as it is like amazing. And yes, I do carry things from my upbringing into my parenting. The stuff that I'm proud of and stuff that I'm not proud of, you know. And when Yvette's never dealt with my anger, but my kids have dealt with my anger. Yeah. They have dealt with like, yo, he just snapped. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they've dealt with mine as well.
Yeah. And so I definitely, and that's hard too, because it's like you want to give a child the best that you can. And sometimes when you try, it just ends up being like this like very like mutilated like experience that you had that it's not exactly like you had. It's a little bit better than what you had, but it's not good. So I would really challenge everyone. And I'm not saying that like if you want to adopt or you want to have kids, like have kids, you know what I mean? But for me, like it's very sacrificial. Like if you're a selfish person,
don't have
kids. Like that's the hardest part is dying to yourself. I don't know if you can
really say that though.
I mean, like have kids,
because
whatever.
We're all selfish. I know, and I don't think we realize how selfish we are until.
But some of us are more selfish than others. You know what I'm saying? Like some of us will.
That's true. I've seen women. I'm specifically speaking about women, but I've seen women who are like, they have kids and they really think kids are cute and they have them in their Jordans and dressed all nice or whatever, but they still want to be out at the clubs on the weekends.
No diss to anyone who buys Jordans for their kids. Like,
oh no, that was no diss at all. I'm just saying, like, they do think that their kid is a prop.
Let's not even just go into like, okay, all the men that like just have children and just leave. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, so, but I'm saying like you cannot be selfish and be a father. Yeah. You cannot be selfish and be a mother. Now there is time where you need to take care of yourself. Yeah. And have self-care, but it's all sacrificial. Yeah. Like when I decide that I'm going out of town or I have to take a job or anything, I have to consider so much. You know, and that's why I have to say no to so many things, because I'm considering things that other people don't have to consider. Yeah. You know. Hey, you need to come to this conference. I can't come. I don't want to leave my family. Well, it's going to be opportunity. I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, and if someone wants to tell me that, like, and they don't have a wife, you know what I'm saying? It's different. Like, you don't understand. I feel bad every time I leave. Every single time I leave. I don't care if I'm gone for 6 hours. I feel bad every time. There's not a time where I'm kind of like, whew. Hope they end up well. It's
Ben,
not
I know there's
one-
been a time you've gone to 7-Eleven real quick and be like, oh, that's a nice break.
No. I'm not talking about 7-Eleven.
I'm not true. I would be like, oh my gosh, I'm in Target by myself.
That's you. But I'm just saying, for me, like, I bear the burden. I hated it. That's why I stopped doing music, because I hated being on tour, leaving my kids with Monette. You know what I'm saying? Or leaving you guys alone. Like, I hated that. And so now the goal is, like, even, and you know what I hate even more than that? Traveling with family. Traveling with kids. Let's talk about, all right, here's the question. What is the hardest part about being a parent? My answer is traveling with kids.
What?
Traveling with kids. With that baby that just don't want to sit still. You on a 5-hour flight. They want to walk around.
That's why they need their own seat.
Lord help us. But we're going to get better. We're going to get better at traveling with kids, and it's not going to be the hardest part.
Okay. That is not the hardest part about being a parent, but okay.
Whatever.
Really? Traveling with kids is the hardest part about being a parent?
Yes.
That's your final answer? No.
Well, what you going to say for me? What's your hardest part?
Didn't I already answer that?
No.
I did. The guilt.
Oh, the guilt. I say traveling.
I think Glen's hardest part is fear.
Fear?
The fear of the unknown.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, come on.
No, but traveling. Traveling is up there. It's like they neck and neck.
Okay. All right, babe. How married are you?
I'm so married that you gave me a what? You always talking.
I know, because you're just so fast with yours.
You gave me a podcast to listen to. I finally listened to it. You told me to listen to that.
He did.
Podcast, and I had no interest in listening to it, but I did listen to the podcast, and it was decent.
Thanks, babe.
How married are you, babe?
So earlier before we started the podcast, I saw that your computer was at 2% and it was about to die. And I took the initiative and got the charger so that we could keep things running smoothly here on this podcast session.
All right, babe.
Do you think that's a lame one?
Nah, I mean,
It's lame.
no, it's good. It's you. That's how you show your love. That's how you show your love. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. I don't know.
I have a question. Last episode,
Okay.
we talked about Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is for women, right?
Okay, so that was one of the other things that I didn't share on that podcast. But one of the statistics is that the male generally spends more money in a heterosexual relationship for the woman. Indeed. Yeah.
Just asking.
I mean, I don't know if that necessarily makes it for the women, but yeah.
All right.
And that's just how married we are.